one nation, under God.
indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
That is one line. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? No public comment? Item number 4, approval of the minutes of the August 2nd, 2022 special town meeting. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve the August 2nd special town meeting minutes.
Motion by Tom Marty,
Second.
second by Al Bruno. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 5-0. Approval of minutes of the August 2nd, 2022 regular meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the August 2nd regular meeting.
Seconded.
Motion by Al Bruno,
Seconded.
second by
Chris.
Collins. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Discussion and take possible action regarding first new fire department software agreement services. Chris Edwards.
Good evening. Chief Chris Edwards, Seymour Fire, 1 First Street. Okay, in your packet, you'll see an agreement for First View software, Mobility Media. This is a new software company. So we've been with the same company now, Fire Software, for 15 or so years. They got bought out by a bigger company called ESO. So what started our project looking at it, ESO is over $16,000 a year for the software. So it's a little out of our price range, and unfortunately we need to have it to submit our run reports to the state of Connecticut. Also, we are in this with the fire marshal's office. They do all their inspections on it and their yearly plans. So over the last year or so, we've been looking at different companies. In the last month, I sat down with First View, with my other chiefs and line officers, and did some demos. It seems like something that really fits in Seymour. It's a yearly 12-month term. Just real quick, synopsis of what we're getting for that. So, fire marshal side, he keeps his inspections, his yearly services. He also gets what we didn't have before. He can do invoicing and paperwork from his inspection right on scene. He doesn't have to come back and print it or email it out. He can do everything right on scene. All his permits, as far as burn permits, everything else, and then he can email those right out to the chief so we know who has a burn permit. Reporting stays the same. Truck inventory and repair stays the same. Training stays the same. We grab a department schedule, and it also comes with a web app for all our firefighters. So when we get a call, we rely on a pager, but it also now sends a text message to an app. It shows all of our fleet plans, where we're going, our hydrant location, the nature of the call, what the CAD says as far as what the caller states to our dispatch center. We don't currently have that. We currently have another system that they have that they can see part of that information. So this system here is going to replace that as well, with a savings of $1,500 a year. We can get rid of that second system that we have. We're running 2 systems right now, so we'll be going to 1. Yearly is $12,700 for the year. We had allocated through the ART funds $16,800, I believe. We used some of that to extend our current software to the end of this year. So if we go with this, it will take us about 4 months to turn over, input everything that we currently have in our current system to this system, and go live at the live date of December 31st. So we're, Roy wanted me to come up and explain what it is and the company that we're going with.
Thank you, Chris. Can I Lydia.
So moved.
Second.
I didn't hear.
So moved. So moved, Al.
Bruno. I seconded it.
Motion by Alberto, second by
Pat.
Pat Lombardi. Discussion.
Yeah. Funding is coming from where?
The first initial year is coming out of the ARP fund, and then every additional year will be a budget line item out of my budget.
Very good.
Chris, I know that this is going to be reviewed by town council, but
Yep.
I'd like you and town council to note in section 5, we got a 12-month term, but we have this auto-renew language, which I always really hate. So if we could maybe get that stricken and maybe give notice upon 60 days whether you're satisfied with the services that are being provided instead of having that. I see that there's a 60-day written notice caveat, and they also have to send you a renewal estimate,
Right.
no less than 90 days, which should trigger, hey, guys, this is going to renew in 60 days. But I would feel more comfortable. I don't know if Rich agrees, but I would
So-
like that language stricken with the auto-renew.
So we are thinking alike. We have actually reviewed this agreement for this vendor for another community that is now providing the service in that community, and we've revised it in a number of spots. So I have to go over this. I see some of the revisions we made are in this agreement.
yeah.
So I have to go back and see what we did in that other town
Sure.
and take a look at this, but I know we modified that provision after some back and forth.
Great. Now that I'm doing this every day about 10 times a day, that language really sticks out to me even more than it used to. The only other piece is, and I don't want to dominate because I know Fred and Chris might have some questions and Pat may have some follow-ups, is I see in the Exhibit A, it has that grand total at $12,700. I would prefer that language be in the body of the contract and not as a exhibit and an addendum. So I would like some kind of language talking about cost or fee in the body of the agreement, not on some exhibit tacked on in the back. So when you go to review it, Chris, it's all right there in the first couple of pages of the agreement. So you're not flipping through and wondering, what did we pay again? And where did the money come from? And what's this? I mean, it's always nice to have that scope of work attached because you know that's what they're going to do and you don't have to redraft the contract and add that. But I mean, I'm sure Rich will discuss that with you and catch that. But I always prefer that. And I know Rich does too because I used to work for him and that's the way we used to have our contracts. So those are my
Listen,
points.
this is your game. I don't, as far as like all this stuff, it's you. So we can, I'm sure we can make the changes
Yeah.
as far as
No.
town council.
That's great. I mean, as long as you're happy with the services, because again, there you go, I'll flip that on you. That's your expertise, not mine. I get the gist, but as long as you're happy with it, then I'm happy with it.
Just to piggyback off what the town council said, 3 of our local or surrounding towns have gone for this. 2 of them that we do mutual aid with, and 1 that we don't, but they're still 1 town over is how we got involved with this.
Yep.
And so far, I believe it's been pretty good on their end.
Great.
So they seem to be happy with it. We could change those couple things in the contract.
Great.
Or-
Just suggestions, what I'd personally like to see, but whatever Rich ultimately decides, he's our town council, so it'd be between you and Rich, and just pointing those things out, things I'd like to see. So thank you. Sounds good.
If I may.
Selectman Stanek. My only question, Pat asked, so I'm good.
Okay.
If I may, Madam First Selectwoman? I don't think she hears us.
Oh, we can go ahead, Fred.
Just trying to follow protocol.
Yeah.
I think the discussion about paragraph 5 of the contract is well worth it because this is something that could very easily be missed by staff. Staff have so many things to do on a daily basis, they miss it. Secondly, I think our motion should include who is authorized to sign the agreement. I don't know if that's the chief or the First Selectwoman.
So that is one of the changes we made in the other community. They make these out, it seems, for the fire departments. We change it to the city or town that's involved, and we have the first select. In that case, the town manager signed it, the one that I changed.
So I will move to amend the motion to add that the First Selectwoman is authorized, will be authorized to sign the agreement. Second to the amendment?
Second.
Okay.
Anything else?
ladies and gentlemen, for your time. If there's any other questions, you guys know how to reach me. And try to
Thank
do
you.
my best to answer for you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I'll
Chris.
be in touch.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
You need to vote.
Yes.
Yep.
Anne Marie,
I don't think
Yes.
discussion's over.
I'm going in and out, sorry, guys.
Yep, discussion's over, just so you
All
know.
in favor?
Aye.
Point of order.
Hasn't been.
I made a motion to amend. We need to vote on the amendment first.
That's what I thought we were voting on, but I guess not.
Me too. That's what I thought we
Well,
were
I
voting.
mean, record should be clear, that's all.
Well, we amended it. We agreed to amend it, so now you want to add.
Voted on the amendment, add it to the motion. Now we'll vote on the amended motion. Is that correct?
All in favor of the amended motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Sorry, Al, can you, it's going in and out. Al, can you feel comfortable taking over?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. All right, item number 7, transfers. You see in your packet. Yeah, the Town of Seymour transfer request from the Board of Education. From the Superintendent, the amount requested is $629,000. From fund balance to the Board of Ed. Rich, do you want me to read the explanation, or does it speak for itself?
I think it speaks for itself. It's part of your packet.
Yep.
So I'd ask everybody to just take a look at that. So could I have a motion to approve the transfer request as explained and detailed in the transfer request dated 8/1/22, control number 7?
So, to accept the transfer?
Yes. Motion to accept the transfer.
So moved.
Seconded.
All right, so we have a motion by Chris, seconded by Pat. Discussion?
I just have one question. The, under budget by 862,000, did that number change at all? Mr. Bucci?
No, the number, this number was the original.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, just come up, Sal, and state.
I'm the business manager for the Seymour Board of Education. That number didn't change any from when we originally projected this number back in January. The number actually was around 874,000 when we originally came up with this number in the report. It's made up of 2 items primarily. One is the health insurance coverage, benefit coverage premiums. That one was significantly under budget. In fact, for this year, the amount that was budgeted was less than the amount that we actually covered last year, without regard to the fact that there was an 8% increase in the premiums. The second key item, which was $207,000, was the fact that they budgeted for MERP, or Seymour's program, the state, you know what that is, it's the same program you're involved in here with the town. That number was about $437,000 budgeted for this year, when last year's budget amount, well, the actual amount was $605,000. We came in this year at about $640,000 or so. It wasn't that much higher. Actually, the increase was the result of the percentage increase that MERS increased. Those 2 items make up the $800-some-odd-thousand of budget overrun. Now, what we were able to do was we were able to mitigate the $800-some-odd-thousand, $70,000 of budget overruns in the employee benefit area with savings coming from other areas. For instance, we had a very difficult time this year with hiring paraeducators. And so we ran very, very close to meeting our IEP requirements. We can't do that, but we were very short-staffed in that area. There were other areas that we were able to utilize some remaining funds that we had available to us for COVID mitigation, including some custodial duties, things that were going on in the fall of '21 into the winter of '21, and we were able to move some of those expenses over. We were also able to utilize some special grants for technology expenses expenditures. So what we were really doing was, we started out behind the eight ball. I came here in November and immediately tried to figure out how it was we were going to try to get this number down. And we were able to reduce it about $250,000 from the January projection. Honestly, I had hoped we'd been able to do more than that, but we were very prudent in utilizing our grants, not charging things to grants that didn't belong in grants. We have an audit coming up. I've been going through audits my whole life, and frankly, you never win when you play those games, and we didn't play any of those games. As a last comment to make here, and I appreciate that Madam First Selectwoman invited us to this meeting, we got our house in order. We have a budget properly prepared for next year. We have our budget set up and established for next year with adequate controls. We have encumbrances into the system now for things that have been recurring year after year that didn't get put into the system for several years. We have issued budgets to each of the individual schools with line items that they can spend within their purview for things like school supplies and things like that. We've moved into central office things that should be central office controlled. So we, with some mixed reviews, I will admit, have instituted some serious controls over our spending, and I can tell you that I've been at this 45 years. I've never had a situation like this in my entire career, and I have no intention of ever seeing this situation repeat as long as I've seen it.
I would just like to add, I've been superintendent for over 21 years. I've been in the business for 40
Dr.
years.
Compton, can you come and
Yes,
state your name and
absolutely.
position for the
Yes,
record, please?
I'm Dr. Susan Compton, Superintendent of Seymour School District. I would just like to emphasize as well, as far as accountability and overseeing the budgets, as Mr. Bucci has just described, is exactly what we are doing. I can tell you that we have scrutinized every budget. We've looked at all of the controls. We've looked at protocols and processes. And I'd also like to emphasize that what's real important too, as he mentioned, our ESSER funds. We looked specifically at ESSER 2 and how we could totally legit bring that number down, and that was also a grant area in which was totally legit with ESSER funds. And I know Mr. Ritchie will agree with that as well, because there were some expenditures that were totally legal to charge to ESSER 2. I can tell you again that we're also going to be attending quarterly town and finance committee meetings, and Mr. Bucci and I both will be here, as well as some of the Board of Ed members. We're holding everybody accountable, and the board's holding me accountable, and I'm holding Mr. Bucci accountable as well. We're a team. We're moving forward. I just want to say a special thank you to you, Selectmen and First Select Woman, and also the Town Board of Finance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if the specific number had changed at all from what we had previously discussed. But thank you for the additional insight.
You clear on that now, Chris? You
Oh,
good?
very.
Sounds good. Any other discussion or questions?
If I may.
Selectman Stanek?
Thank you. To whomever wishes to answer this question, is this the final deficit number? Have you reconciled this as the final number? I know it was a little bit lower previously, and now it's slightly higher than what the Board of Ed previously approved.
It was a little bit lower previously when I did the original.
Sal, can you please come up to the mic? No, thank you.
I
Because
know.
we want to make sure we capture it
Yes,
on the
but I'm
video.
sorry, I forgot the
Yeah.
protocol. When we did the original close, our July meeting was July 11th, and the original close that we had it at some $574,000. After a lot of long hours during the month of July in preparation for the August 1st meeting, we were able to scrub June 30th numbers and really go through and look at the reconciliation and tie out. We had legal bills that flowed through in the month of July that dated back to March from a couple of the law firms that we deal with, which, again, some of those things related to special education, and so we really didn't have necessarily a handle on what was actually floating around in terms of open cases that they were working on. It was one of those things where we were able to just look at the legal services and then quantify what that number was. So we saw some bills coming through that month, and essentially the approach I took, which was different than the approach that was taken coming into this year. And so part of this also is a carry forward problem. For instance, last year when they closed the books, there were certain accruals that were not made and the expenses were pushed forward. And, you know, some of it is, it's a materiality thing, but for instance, if you accrue teacher payroll, you're supposed to accrue taxes, you're supposed to accrue, when you accrue, say the last week of the month, because you're on a month lag in terms of payroll, you're supposed to accrue MERP, you're supposed to accrue these expenses. Well, it's $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 when you add it up, and they look at an accrual and they say, okay, I've got teacher payroll, but we didn't pick up all the ancillary items, okay? So what I tried to do was to say, let's get a clean close as of June 30th, and let's not continue this process of accepting what we like and ignoring what we don't like, and then pushing things into the following year, and then having this problem where we're continually kicking the can down the road, because ultimately, this is what happens. It comes to fruition all of a sudden at one time. Some new guy comes in like me, starts looking at everything from a completely different lens, and I'm like, this stuff is all supposed to be, you know, back in the prior year. So we did make a concerted effort to do a comprehensive review of everything, and I'm comfortable that this is the number, and this is where, and I can tell you, I've been in the weeds on this stuff, so I have personal first-hand knowledge of all of this stuff, and I've looked at it all, and I'm standing here putting my reputation on the line to tell you that I believe this is the final number.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good, good. All right, so we have a motion on the table to approve this transfer request in the amount of $629,000. Are we ready to vote? Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Chair votes aye. Against? Abstain? All right. Transfer request passes 4-0-0. All right. To the next item, item number 8, discussion and take possible action regarding the shared services agreement with the Board of Education. As you can see in your packets, fellow selectmen, we have a shared services agreement between the town of Seymour and the Seymour Board of Education, which will be signed by First Selectwoman Dragonis and Superintendent Dr. Compton. I'd like to take some time to refresh our recollection with it. I know we've read over the packets, but let's take another quick peek. Make sure we're all on the same page. Got enough time to review? Can I have a motion to approve the shared services agreement as written with strike-throughs and corrections, which will be finalized, I'm assuming, by Mr. Burke or Town Council?
And to authorize the first selectwoman to execute it.
And to authorize the first selectwoman to execute it.
So moved, Mr. Chairman Pro Tem.
Motion by Selectman Lombardi,
I'll second the motion.
second by Selectman Stanek. Discussion? No discussion? I'd like to take a vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those against? Abstentions? Motion passes 4-0-0. Thank you. Okay, next item is item number 9, to set a special town meeting for Tuesday, September 6th at 6:45 p.m. regarding A supplemental appropriation in excess of $100,000 for transfer control number 8 regarding garbage collection.
I wish to make a motion to set a special town meeting for Tuesday, September 6th at 6:45 in the Norma Drummer Room regarding a supplemental appropriation in excess of $100,000 for transfer control number 8 regarding garbage collection.
All in favor?
Oh, wait,
I
second.
mean, second, sorry.
Second.
Second by Selectman Lombardi. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Against? Abstain? All right. That motion passes 4-0-0. Number 9B, set a special town meeting for Tuesday, September 6th at 6:45 PM regarding a supplemental appropriation in excess of $100,000 for transfer control number 9 regarding retiree health insurance.
Motion to set a special town meeting for Tuesday, September 6th at 6:45 PM regarding a supplemental appropriation in excess of $100,000 for transfer control number 9 regarding retiree health insurance.
Do I have a second?
I will second the motion.
Second by Selectman Stanek. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Chair votes aye. Against? Abstentions? Motion passes 4-0-0. Thank you. Item number 10, set public hearing for Tuesday, September 6th at 6:30 PM regarding the adoption of a gender-neutral Board of Select Persons ordinance.
I will make a motion to set a public hearing for Tuesday, September 6th at 6:30 PM regarding the adoption of the gender-neutral proposed ordinance.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Selectman Bowen. Discussion?
I just have one question. With a special town meeting happening at 6:45, could there be a potential issue if people decide to turn out for the town hearing?
You can
I'm worried
handle
about
it.
times getting,
You can handle it. What you would do is you would recess the first meeting, call the next one to order, recess that, and go back and call the first one to order. And then you can
Then have that
move the
discussion
train
and then-
forward, and eventually you'll get through your night.
okay.
And I hope Brian's covering that night.
It's just something I have to ask with the unfortunate state of national politics.
Sneaky suspicion Brian will be here that night. All right.
Making sure of that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any against? Abstentions? All right, motion passes 4-0-0. Thank you. Item number 11, discussion and take possible action to exempt 2022 LoSiP hazardous tree removal from town bid requirements pursuant to Section 2-268, subsection E, little e, of the Seymour Town Charter.
So,
Point of order, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, I believe that should read Seymour Town Ordinances,
town code.
Town Code.
That's what I was gonna say, and I didn't get a chance to see the new one. All right. So,
Thank you.
want me to read it again, Rich, into the record?
You
Should I say-
like, yeah.
Discussion and take possible action to exempt 2022 LoSiP hazardous tree removal from town bid requirements pursuant to Section 2-268, small e in parens of the Seymour Town Code. We have a motion.
So move.
Motion by Selectman Lombardi. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Selectman Bowen. Discussion?
Why in particular are we exempting this?
Yeah, thank you, Rory. Please speak to that. Mr. Burke?
Good evening, everybody. So, this is the third year that we have done this project. At the last meeting, you all approved the use of the LoSiP funds for this use. There was a mistaken assumption internally that because it was state funds rather than town funds, that it was exempt from the town's bid requirement. So it would not be. the situation we find ourselves in now is that we have gone all around town flagging trees as hazardous, which means that we are on notice. And so the longer we remain in this position, the less
More liability we have, right? Yeah.
So I've spoken to the Public Works Director, and to ensure that this does not happen again, because we don't want to find ourselves here again, we'll be conducting an RFQ to establish a vendor list for tree services so that we will not have to bid this out moving forward.
Right, in the future, you're talking about. Correct.
Yeah.
You understand my reticence for waiving this requirement because of a boo-boo, right?
I do. And it's the pleasure of the board. If you decline to do so, we'll put it out to bid.
Town council, what's our risk of being sued should this be defeated?
Well, having had the tree warden flag a number of trees throughout the community as hazardous, I would think the sooner you take them down, the better. Because arguably, we are on notice. These are town trees on town property or in the town right-of-way. So I think it would behoove all of us to try to move forward. Now, I will say that 2-268E is a particularly complicated provision. So if I may, I'll fill you in on exactly what this says.
Please.
Yeah. So the money is available in the budget. The provisions, at least 4 members, so you need 4 votes for this, need to determine the money's going to be used for some proper purpose. It's certainly a proper purpose, I would suggest. That the need is emergent in nature to such a degree that the time required for advertising and competitive bid requirements of this article would impose a substantial hardship upon the town. You can make the case, having flagged these trees and being put on notice, that that falls within that. C, that a lower price for the purchase of goods or services could be obtained by soliciting quotes rather than inviting bids. You can certainly ask the movement could instruct the Selectmen's office to comply with this so they can get multiple quotes. And then, subpart 2, the vote of the Board of Selectmen shall be taken at a duly called meeting. This certainly is. And the Board of Selectmen shall state in writing the nature of the emergency and the hardship, or the reason why soliciting quotes, that's an or, would obtain a lower cost. I would state that it's in the nature of the emergency and the hardship. You don't have time, having been put on a public safety notice, to go out to bid. So you need this done as quickly as possible. After such determination is made by the board, and frankly, it just says in writing, that could be in your minutes. After such determination is made by the Board of Selectmen may award a contract for goods or services so exempted from the requirements hereof. An emergency shall be defined as an unforeseen combination of circumstances which calls for an immediate action by the town. And that's there's another provision that doesn't apply. So that's your emergency provision, which isn't the most nimble, but it could get the job done if you so choose to go down this road.
Falling trees would count as a emergency.
Yes.
Rory, you're
Yes.
satisfied that we've put in the proper, you're satisfied that we've done the most we can to prevent this from happening again?
Not yet. I spoke to the Public Works Director when it came to light that we would make sure that it doesn't happen again, but we have not done it yet.
So you just still have to follow up and
Correct. We have to draft it.
do the workaround and put those controls in place.
But that's on.
But you have a plan.
if I may, the proposed contractor is out on the limb tree service. When would out on the limb be able to start the work?
We gave them the go-ahead, my understanding is almost.
Okay, well, I have an issue in voting. This is a client of mine.
Can you get Anne Marie back up?
That'd be great. Can we get her back?
Yeah, you're right, Fred. Recuse yourself.
Big conflict for Fred. Yeah.
You have to vote August. Everybody's away.
It's unbelievable. Your alternative would be you could call a special Zoom meeting for this purpose.
That's necessary.
What if Anne Marie just called me? Can we do it over the phone?
Yeah, sure. I mean, she is somewhere there.
Oh, by cyberspace.
Yeah.
Cyberspace. Wi-Fi space. Just for the record, for some of the board members, Public Works, we have used this vendor before. They're very reputable. We haven't had any problems with them. Just throwing that out there.
She'll hop on.
Okay.
I love that half of us decided to text her and say we need you.
There she is. Hello, First Select Woman.
Hello, Deputy First Selectman, how are you?
Good. So we're here live.
Hi, how are you? Yep,
Hi.
I'm listening. Hi.
Heard a lot of highs back there. Good.
Yep.
Tell them they're live. They're part of the meeting. Great. So what we're having here is we have an issue with item number 11 because Fred's client is out on a limb tree service, so he's conflicted out from voting. So we're going to need you to vote on this matter with us. So we have 4.
The code requires 4 votes.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Seymour Town Code Section 2-268, small in parens, requires 4 votes. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. So,
So I think it would be in order for a motion to approve, what's the name of this vendor?
Out on a limb.
Out on a
Out on the Limb as the emergency tree vendor pursuant to Seymour Town Code 2-268E, with a finding in the minutes that this particular provision is necessitated due to the public safety threat posed by the trees that have been tagged.
So moved.
so moved by Selectman Bowen. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Second by Selectman Lombardi.
Aye.
We've had our discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Abstentions?
I'm abstaining, recusing myself.
Okay. Motion passes 4-0-1. Thank you, Emery.
Thank you.
We'll call if you need you again.
Yes, call my cell phone.
All right, thanks, bye.
Bye.
Okay. Item number 12, discussion and take possible action to award the contracts for the Board of Education Central Office Relocation Project. Part A, we're going to be discussing entry and exit doors first. So as you'll see in your packet, I believe we have a quote here from John Boyle Decorating Centers. And it looks like the total would be $19,345. So if we could take a look at that quote. And if I could have a motion to award the contract to John Boyle Decorating Centers for the entry and exit doors for the Board of Education Central Office Relocation Project.
I will make the motion to award the contract for the entry and exit doors to John Boyle Decorating Centers for the Central Office Relocation Project.
Thank you for Selectman Stanek. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Selectman Lombardi. Discussion?
Quick question. This bid is for $19,345, but it says after that, they'll be hoping to quote labor within the week, so we're not really approving this number, right?
I would think that we are approving it conceptually because the next part of this is to act upon using ARP funds to fund this.
This particular quote is to order the doors, so that
That is
owners
correct.
can order the doors.
So there'll be a separate quote for the labor
I believe
with a
so.
separate
Yeah.
vote and all that?
Right, because
Okay.
it says NA. So
I
we're
just wanted to
figuring-
be clear on that,
Yeah.
just to be,
Yep, that's what the quote says, so you brought that to the attention. That's on the record.
I believe, and I'm not 100% certain of this, that much of that labor will be done by the custodial staff.
Okay.
The custodial staff is contributing quite a bit of time to this project. Great savings to the town.
agreed.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure that this number wasn't gonna, increase from what we approved. So,
We have Board of Education folks in attendance, or Rory can speak to it?
Yeah, so what you've done in the past is an amount not to exceed
Yes.
in your appropriation motions.
Right.
It is also my understanding that the custodian would be performing the labor.
okay. So if there's another quote needed for exterior labor,
It
we'll
would
get that
require
as a
another
separate.
appropriation.
Okay. That works for me.
Sounds good.
The relocation committee was supposed to meet last Thursday to discuss this in more detail. However, there wasn't a quorum, only 2 members present. We're meeting again tomorrow night. But we wanted to get this taken care of ahead of time. Usually the relocation committee will act and then the Board of Selectmen, but the relocation committee is a child of the Board of Selectmen, so the Board of Selectmen can act before the committee. And Tim Connors recommended that this quote be accepted.
So this has gone before the relocation committee?
This quote has not yet.
It has not.
It will tomorrow night. So the committee will just probably vote to ratify our action.
For Tim's recommendation, or Tim
Yes,
Connor's
yes.
recommendation. Makes sense. Any other discussion? We have, ready for a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Abstentions? Motion passes 400 regarding item 12A. Item 12B, discussion and take possible action to award the contracts for the Board of Education Central Office Relocation Project for the drop ceiling work that needs to be done. As you can see in your packet. Let's see, we have a quote from Joseph Falango III out of Shelton to do that work. Total materials and labor, $18,950. Looks like, Rich, you're gonna have to help me, because I
There's a
see
second
another quote,
There's a
another
second
proposal.
quote.
GP Construction. To furnish and install in the amount of $35,050.
We need a motion, don't
Yeah,
It
we're gonna,
looks like on your agenda, it's using the number $18,950. Perhaps Rory can enlighten us. Is that the amount?
Yeah, that's correct. My understanding is
Yes.
that given the broader economy right now, we're having trouble getting quotes from individuals. If you remember, we bid out each of the components of this project a while back and only received bids for 2 of, I believe, 16 components. So I believe that the quotes you have are just to demonstrate the quotes that came in.
okay,
But the low number is the 18,950.
okay.
My understanding is that the higher quote, the the company did not even view the site.
Okay,
Simply submitted a quote,
okay.
so.
And I would just ask again, these have gone through the relocation committee or no?
No, the relocation committee will consider tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night?
Very good.
Okay, so,
Could we potentially wait for them to consider this?
No, this work has to be done before school starts. The project is not going to be completed before school starts, but all the heavy work, noisy work is going to be completed before school starts.
yeah,
So this has to proceed.
needs to
That's
get
why-
done, right?
That's why I asked that this be on the agenda of tonight's meeting of this board in advance of the
Okay.
relocation committee.
Okay,
We're taking it in steps, and my feeling is we need to keep moving along and not hold anything up.
Thank you.
then I would like to make a motion to award the contract for the Board of Education Central Office Relocation Project for the drop ceiling work to Joseph Falango III out of Shelton in the amount of $18,950.
I will second that motion.
Okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Abstentions? Motion passes 400. Thank you, gentlemen. Number 13, discussion and take possible action regarding the appropriation of American Rescue Plan Act funds for the Central Office Relocation Project. Item A, entry and exit doors in the amount of $19,345.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Motion by Selectman Lombardi, second by Selectman Stanek. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Abstentions? Motion passes 400. Item number B, discussion and take possible action regarding the appropriation of American Rescue Plan Act funds for the Central Office Relocation Project for the drop ceiling work in the amount of $18,950.
I'll
Motion
second the
by Selectman Bowen, second by Selectman Stanek. Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Abstentions? Motion passes 400. Item number 14, appropriation. Right? Because I don't see anything.
I was
in
going
here.
to ask. It's not specific enough.
All right, so that's a typo. We're going to go on to the next. First Select Woman's report. Does she have anything to report, Laura, that you know of, or should I give her a call? She didn't. Okay, just want to make sure. Okay, nothing to report from the First Select Woman. Number 16, appointments. I do not believe we have any appointments tonight. I didn't see any in the packet. Rory, is that accurate? Okay, thank you. Number 17, tax refunds and abatements. You can see in your packet, we do have some of those. If you could please take a look, make sure you don't have any conflicts before voting.
Motion to approve as presented in the report.
Motion by Selectman Lombardi,
Second.
second by Selectman Bowen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Against? Abstentions? Motion passes 400. Rory, I don't see any correspondence. No correspondence. Number 18, nothing to report there. Number 19, public comment. Do you have any public comment? Public seems to still be awake, but no comment. Okay, going once, going twice. Okay, we're going to close public comment. Number 20, Selectmen's public comments. I'm going to start with Selectman Lombardi, at the far end of the table.
Thank you. I have nothing tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Selectman Stanek.
If I may,
Sure.
we have been presented with the nomination forms for the Roberta M. King Excellent Governmental Service Award and the Frank and Ann Conroy Outstanding Community Service Award. So we, as members of the board, are able to nominate individuals if we wish, and we hope to confer these awards at the October 18th meeting of this board. There's a second page to these.
It's on the back.
Oh, it's on the back.
Yep, it's all one form.
Okay, very good. They're on the
Rory
web-
got really, saving trees,
They're
Rory.
they're on the
Yeah.
website.
I know where we can find some trees.
You've been tagged for 5 years waiting to get cut?
Oh, for Pesci's sake.
Kidding, 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 it has been done. But, like Selectman Stanek said, these awards are now live, correct, Fred?
Yes.
All nominations must be received no later than September 9th, 2022, although we may extend that out a little bit if needed, but that is the current deadline. And then we're going to confer these awards hopefully in our mid-October meeting. So this was Fred's idea, Selectman Stanek's idea, I should say. We worked really hard on these, Selectman Danka and myself, the three of us. So we're really hoping folks will put nominations forward for these two awards. I think it's a great idea to nominate folks for governmental service, which would be the Roberta King Excellence in Governmental Service Award, to honor her memory, and also the Outstanding Community Service Award to honor Frank and Ann Conroy for all they did in their memory, for all they did for our little town. So I think they're wonderful awards, so hopefully we get a bunch of nominations to sift through and have our inaugural awards handed out in mid-October. Anything else? Selectman Stan?
Nothing else, thank you.
Selectman Bone?
I have nothing.
Okay. Chair has no comments other than thank you all for behaving and allowing my meeting to run smoothly in Anne Marie's absence, so I can do this for us.
Did a
Much
fine job.
appreciated. Thank you, Rory. Thank you. Thank you.
Fine job.
Selectman Stanek, appreciate it. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
All right, motion by Selectman Lombardi, second by Selectman Bowen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Abstentions? Motion passes 4-0-0.